What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that movement, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And I'm speaking by the end of 2024, we'll say it's 500,000. We're speaking that. But as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live on the last Saturday in September 2025. It's September 27th. And we've got another spurt of spring hashtag summer weather hitting in Toronto again. Up until yesterday, we had rain all throughout the weekend. As people were telling me in Toronto, I guess it was to make up for the lack of rain we had during the summer. So we have another good stretch of nice, warm, but not humid weather for the up until they're saying Wednesday, then it's gonna dip again. But we'll take it. We'll take it. It's all good. I don't fight the feeling. I don't fight the feeling. But you know what feeling you should definitely not fight? You shouldn't fight having Aisha K. Staggers and LaLa Key in the house. What is going on, ladies?
Well, you're getting the summer and we're getting some coldness. So we had a cold front roll through. And so I think the pressure has caused like some headache issues. But other than that, we're good.
Okay, well, and just an FYI to everyone who's listening live or on the replay or on the audio replay, both ladies are a little under the weather today. So we always like to be gentle with them, but today always really be gentle with them. Or as someone would say that LaLa says, I'm coming after you. I'm coming after you. She knows what I mean by that. That's an inside joke.
Right?
I'm coming after you. Aisha K., what is going on?
Oh, nothing.
No,
No, nothing. I just have a little bit of a cold, but other than that, everything's good. Everything's good.
All right.
Aside from the craziness of the country, everything is good.
Oh boy. Oh boy. LaLa, what's going on in your world?
Really working on a class right now. I'm starting to teach AI to people. So I'm working on a class to help people learn how to create their AI twin. And I'm going to start having a lunch and learn series come up. So been pretty busy on that.
You know, and it's interesting, you sent me a resource this week, which was very nice. And it's funny, I put a prompt asking, what do you know about Dr. Vibe? And I did a comparison, and one of them full. The other one had nothing.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see them side by side.
Yeah, so I'm really enjoying that, and people are starting to push and say, Dr. Vibe, you seem to know a lot about these sites. I go, all roads lead to LaLa. So
I love it.
I'm going to do on my morning vibe show, I think once a week, I'm going to highlight an AI site that I found productive for me that could be productive for others.
Yes.
Like the one that I found really useful lately is Nano Banana.
Yeah, I haven't really fooled around with that one too much.
Okay. Aisha, what's one win you had since we spoke to you last? We haven't spoken to you in 2 weeks because you weren't with us last week. What's a win you've had in the last 2 weeks?
I turned 51.
No.
Blessings.
Yes. I turned 51.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. In the comments, Enlightened Beings goes, hey family, happy belated birthday, Aisha.
And then I went, you know what? I went to Myrtle Beach by myself, right? Because I'm trying to like do more things like take vacations by myself and do things like that. So I went by myself. I was gonna hook up with one of my best friends when I was there, but I ended up just enjoying myself so much. I laid out on the beach and everything until a lizard decided it was going to join me in my time of solitude. So then it was time to leave the beach. Um, and I saw the Purple Experience. I didn't expect to go see it. I just was like looking for something to do um, up and down the boardwalk of the beach, and so I happened to see that there was going to be uh, um, the Purple Experience is this Prince tribute show,
Okay.
and so I just like, oh, I'll go see it. And I went and saw it. I think I sent LaLa. I sent you and Jill the picture that night. I sent you the picture. You guys the picture, right? Because
No.
I looked. I didn't send you guys the picture, but I texted them in the middle of the show, and I was like, text everybody. It's like I was like, we'll have to discuss this at another time.
Oh,
I
you might
told them,
have. Yeah, you
I,
might have. Yes.
I said we will have to discuss this at another time because I think you guys had texted me something in the chat, and I thought we will discuss this another time because this is where I am right now.
Ah, yes, I do remember that. Yes.
In response to something that they had texted, I said, "But this is where I am right now." And I mean, it was an interesting show. The first thing out my mouth was like, I was like, "Who's the white prince?" That was my first thing out my mouth. I'm like, "Yeah, see, this is why I go places with people."
That's
But
hilarious.
it was entertaining.
Okay. That's a nice
And
general word. Want to
no, it
break it
was
down a
entertaining.
bit
No, it
further?
was entertaining, and somebody threw their bra on the stage.
Oh,
They went there.
Yes,
okay.
somebody threw their bra on the stage.
Okay.
That's the show. That's the show that Matt Fink used to be a part of at one point
Oh, okay. Okay.
before the Revolution got back together. Because
Okay.
apparently they were doing it before Prince passed away.
All right.
It was
Well,
it was. I mean, it was an interesting show. I mean, the guy he's talented.
you said
I think for me it was the thing that I'd seen Prince in person.
Yes. It's
So
kind of
the
hard
difference
when
is
you see him. Yeah, when you see
right,
him in person, that's hard.
right, right. So the difference is if you've never seen Prince in person, you see it and you're like, wow, oh my God, he's really got that nailed. Because it could have been like watching Prince on a video.
how did you
Mm.
like well for both of you, how much time do you enjoy being alone?
I'm a big alone person. I love people, but at this stage in my life, I need peace. There's so much going on in the world right now, and I it's stimulation overload. So peace is very important to me. It's why my office is decorated the way that it is. It's decorated the way that makes me happy. I burn the incense. I do everything. It's very important for me. Now, alone also means with my husband to me. I mean, we both have our alone time as well, but quality time with my husband is very important.
And that's the part that's the lesson I took from excuse me. That's the lesson I took from my trip is that alone time for me means just being around people that I like.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I wish my daughter had had the time off and she could have come with me, but she couldn't because if she had come with me, I would have had more fun.
Okay. So that alone time, yeah. Uh, I guess I have to chime in here myself since I asked the conversation piece. I like my alone time. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, you do so many conversations." Yeah, but I also like my alone time. Plus, it gives me a chance to get some stuff done.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I do enjoy my alone time. Like today, well, most Saturdays I do around midday, do my grocery shopping for the week and all that. Came home, worked out for an hour and a half, had a beautiful shower to get my mindset ready for the two black lady thought leaders who are gonna invade the present. So, and yeah,
But well, believe it or not, when I want serious alone time, honestly, I will go sit in my car
Yeah, I used to do that a lot in Denver.
with a cup of
interesting.
coffee or a diet soda or something. Go sit in my car and just sit there with my tablet. And especially at night, because we live on a dead end street. It's creepy. It's fall in Connecticut, and you talk about watching Dateline in the dark. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
Wow,
it is the
Dateline
best
in the
experience.
dark.
Well, let me tell you,
Dateline.
I didn't do myself any favors. Okay, so coming back, I flew from Charlotte to Connecticut there, and then had a rental car to drive to Myrtle Beach. Same way on the way back. On the way back, Saturday night, because I stayed at a hotel by the airport. 'Cause my plane left at 6 a.m. Sunday
Mm,
morning. I didn't do myself any favors because there are only backwoods ways to get from Myrtle Beach to Charlotte.
yeah.
Um, it was late, 7 p.m., dark, and I had Dateline playing in the car. And my daughter, I was like, I told my daughter, I say, that is my nightmare of how my story ends on a backwoods road in the dark, in the deep South, becoming a Dateline episode. And here I am in the backwoods of the deep South, driving, listening to Dateline.
That's hilarious.
Because
Hilarious.
it was, yeah, but
You're into that show too much.
and I'm so
I
upset
love
because
it.
there's a brand new Dateline episode last night.
Yes, the
I'm
2 hour
sitting
one.
here,
I did watch it.
yes,
It was good.
8:45. I'm sitting here. I have my snacks ready, and but this I had my snacks ready. I took the cold medicine. They were just going to commercial right before they came. I'm like, I don't feel good, but I'm gonna close my eyes. I saw them listen to the commercial. When Dateline comes around, open my eyes. I did open my eyes. And it was 12:15, and I was so pissed. I missed the whole episode.
Aww.
Oh man.
Oh, I caught the whole thing. 2 hour episode. It was good.
I
Good
know. I
2 hours.
was waiting for that one.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna go
let's,
watch it on demand.
yes, definitely watch on demand. All right. Let's get to a break. And then when we come back from break, we'll do some house chores and then and let's just say we'll cherry pick from about 10,000 different things we could cherry pick from. So we'll be right back. Black Canada Talking, where Black Canadians give their takes, POVs, and insights.
Think about that our ancestors have been doing this. Think about your own privilege. Enjoy our food. Celebrate our food.
Oh yeah, that's because Black people do a lot of bad stuff. Can you believe this? I said, who taught you that?
Many people would say culture, but you use spirit. Why do you use that word? I find this fascinating.
Hearing him say that, it just really filled my heart. So thank you for sharing that.
All right, you're watching Primetime Saturday with Aisha, myself, Dr. Vibe, in the background, and the front ground is Aisha and LaLa. So good to have everyone here watching live on the replay. So let's do some house stuff. Girlfriends chat with Aisha, LaLa, and Jill Jones. There was older episodes on the Patreon link that you see, newer episodes on the Substat link. Primetime Saturday show store, Primetime Saturday, get the goods, materials. Join our Discord group. I put in about 6 or 7 different stories yesterday. I jam-packed it. But if you want to be part of it, email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com or click on, copy the Discord link. Then subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Please also like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. And if you want to advertise your business, a product or service on any of the platforms that I'm on, please feel free to email me. And then finally, thank you again to Dr. Tashay, who stepped in last week, who always makes us smarter, be more, and her platform. Indie Soup Media, independent content creators platform on YouTube, been around for about 18, 19 months. over 28,000 subscribers, and a lot of these conversations are on that platform. And finally, I want to put this up here. During our conversation, if you got a question or a take, you can call in live. Yes, you can actually call in live and check us out. And all you need to do is either, well, through laptop, desktop, or tablet, go to callme.com. All right, well, let me start again. Go to callme.road.com, or if you have a smartphone, swipe the QR code that is on your screen if you're watching this live. And then once you'll get to a screen. And why don't I do this? Because I better be a nice guy and I'll put on screens. I always tell people, you can tell people what to do. You got to show them what to do. So when you get to callme.road.com, I'm actually going to show you. You'll get to this screen. And as you see right here, I've put in the code FSPL8L. That's what you need to put in. Click on continue and make sure you have echo cancellation turned on and the automatic mic gain turned on. And then all you need to do is put in your name. Well, actually, okay, all you have to do is put in your name and you can connect. Once you put in your name, it will actually, let me refresh it to just show you the right process. Okay, so it'll look like this when you come in. So your echo cancellation will be turned off. You want to turn your echo cancellation on. You want to put in your name. And once you put that in, all you got to do is click join call, and I'll see that you want to join live. All right, there we go. That's it. That's all. And you know what? I don't think I put it up. Or did I? Maybe I did. You can tell me if I did. But you know what? Let's get to our first conversation topic, which wasn't a big surprise, but still shaking my head. Former U.S. FBI Director James Comey has been indicted. Well, actually, before any of you ladies have a comment, Ryan, who was an intern producer earlier on this year, says, hello, Dr.
Hey.
Vibe.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan. Hi,
Yeah.
Ryan.
And actually, Ryan, I saw your message. He's actually graduating from his master's program in a few months.
Good for
Wonderful.
him.
And he always stays in touch. Any Instagram posts I do, he always likes them. Everyone. So I love the kid.
Good for
And
him.
then like Being says, I love my alone time. We all, I think as we progress in life, we do. All right, let's get back to James Comey indicted. What y'all say, ladies? The attack on 47's enemies has fully started now.
Well,
It started a while ago.
first of all, we have to stop saying we're marching toward autocracy. We are here. We've
Yes,
been here.
I agree with
But
that.
the thing about him, about indicting James Comey, is first of all, Trump needs to understand one thing. James Comey's an attorney. That's the first thing. So you having him indicted is really ridiculous because it's like you don't think that he will be able to go to his attorney with any of the stuff. He knows exactly how his attorney can handle it. You literally gave him the paperwork. There's a paper trail going up for him to have this flushed out of court, first of all, because you made it very clear that you had your AG go after him because this statute of limitations is running out on Tuesday. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I got to hear about the indictment a little bit more in detail. It's not even clear what they indicted him for.
No.
They just said lying, but which lie they think it is not clear. They just indicted him literally for lying. Not the lie that most people assume they thought that he meant. It's just overall lying about the Russia hoax. Literally, that's what it is. And the most ridiculous part of this whole nonsense is he indicted James Comey for an investigation that James Comey did when Trump was president,
Right.
which means that he actually could have indicted him 5 years ago,
Right.
which he didn't do. That's the most ridiculous part. That's the thing that's going to be a question for. That's a question that if I was a judge, I would be asking. So, who was president 5 years ago, and over DOJ? You. Why didn't you do this 5 years ago? What's the evidence you found in 9 months of being president now that you didn't have 5 years ago? Not only that you didn't have 5 years ago, that you didn't find in the 4 of the 5 years that because remember, he fired James Comey early on, like what, within 3 or 4 months. So he basically had a whole first term. What in so this is really ridiculous. This is just a sign of him basically saying, "Look, I can do it."
That's his whole point. He's trying to prove what he can do, but even people in his own camp are like, but you don't have enough. This is not going to stand. But that doesn't matter because he wants to continue to set this path of showing that he wants to be the bully in the room and wants to have the last word. Once again, everything that we're going to talk about tonight is going to be exactly the same thing. It all boils down to vengeance, and it all boils down to smokescreen because he does not want these Epstein files to come out. Everything here is meant to blow smoke up the American. And his followers are always his diehard kooks are going to believe everything that he says. However, there are many people who have woken up. It used to be so bad to say you're woke, but they're starting to wake up to see that all of this is a farce, but it's all over the Epstein files. Nobody cares about actually what's happening. What everybody really cares about on his side that he promised was those Epstein files. Now, Comey was fired by Trump in 2017. And so he leaked memos over the Russia probe. So this is nothing but Trump trying to, okay, you know what? Then I'm going to show you who's boss. I'm back in here again, so let me show you my power. He doesn't have a foundation for this at all, and it's not going to stand. Comey's smarter than this.
Yeah, he is. And you know what though? Honestly, if I was Jim Comey, I would actually flip the script on Trump because Trump doesn't realize that sometimes you talk too damn much. Sometimes you need to keep your mouth shut about things, and then things don't get out. Because the one thing that Jim Comey has, that Jim Comey could literally say, people might get mad at him, people might hate him, but people are already mad at him for this one thing anyway. Might as well just say it. Look, I put my finger on the scale for you. That's the only thing
Yeah,
Jim Comey has to say to him.
yeah,
To say he's following this thing after Jim Comey because he thinks that Jim Comey made him look like an illegitimate president by doing the Russia investigation. By doing the Russia investigation, and what he can't get through his head is that the result of the investigation wasn't that he colluded with Russia, was that Russia saw him as their preferred candidate. So they interfered to make sure he won. Nobody said that Trump colluded with him. They said though that when they went to ask Trump if he knew anything, Trump stood in the way. That made him look guilty. Okay, but here's the thing. They didn't say that you colluded with them, but you are making it look like you did. Which means that you're guilty of something. Because otherwise, I would just sit back and say, "Oh, they're saying I'm not guilty of anything." I'd sit back and shut up. But all Comey has to say is like, "Yeah, timing is everything. I put that thing out 11 days beforehand, and that's how come Hillary won." That's all he has to say. And then Trump would be,
but the
"Yeah, now
question
you're
is,
not."
will he? This is
Yes,
what
well,
bothers me the most, Aisha. This bothers me the most. You know, we hear so many things like this going on with Trump and his bulliness and this doing, and we see it so clearly. Just like you said, why won't Comey just come out and say, you know what? You want the truth, then here it is. Why don't they do that? Why? What is it that holds them back from slamming this down where it should be shut down?
because they're worried about their reputations. But honestly, at this point, truth be
It's
told,
garbage
it's
now.
clear. But at this point, James Comey, you might as well do it. They fired your daughter. Your son-in-law had to quit yesterday, so you might as well do it because I mean, honestly, he's doing James Comey now. He's trying to indict Fonnie Willis.
Yes.
They're trying to take that to court next week, and he's still pissed that he couldn't get Tish James indicted. So he's going to try
But he's
another
also
workaround on that.
making moves to fire a lot of these judges so that his cronies can be put in place
Right.
to push this narrative even more. So that's where you guys are not getting it. This is more than a story of James being indicted. This actually is a power move in the fact that he removed key people who do not agree with him so that this could happen.
Yeah, yeah. He's removing a lot of the prosecutors. But the thing is, the thing that will come back to bite him is employment law. The good thing is that employment law, these attorneys that are suing, because remember, he's firing attorneys.
Left
That's a
and
good
right.
thing. He's firing attorneys left and right without knowing the law, right? And here's the part is that you're firing attorneys without knowing the law, without knowing what you can and can't do to fire them, and you're breaking the law and firing them. Employment law is one of the few areas that's very cut and dry, right? So he's firing all these attorneys. And put it this way, with this indictment for James Comey, the woman who is the head prosecutor for that
Yes.
district,
Yes.
I listened to Barbara McQuaid, who used to be a head attorney for a district, um, and she said on MSNBC, she said, you know how many of those grand jury indictments I signed when I was over it? She said none, because I had competent enough attorneys that worked under me that knew the cases better that I trusted to sign. I would look over the paperwork, review it, they would go sign it, and then they would go and do the grand jury. Apparently, this woman, being just an insurance attorney, she had to have somebody tutor her in how to present evidence in a grand jury.
Lord help.
It's true. Yeah, she's never done anything
No
like this.
experience. She's never been a prosecutor.
Never, never, never. I find this interesting, and I'll share it in the Discord groups after this conversation. A really interesting interview on the Daily Beast with a lady who used to be high up in the Department of Justice about pardons, and basically from her, and she got fired 7 weeks into her. And the thing is, she's totally credible because she was there when Biden pardoned his family, and she was also there with the 47. And the story she has to tell, it's basically justice is justice for pay. And she really
Yeah.
shares a lot of interesting stories on what's going on in regards to the lack of diligence, and how many civil servants have been fired, and they're all being replaced by 47 supporters.
Right.
Lord,
And see,
who have no experience or no cause to be in the positions.
well, but the thing is that remember, and he said this, and they said this in Project 2025, and we covered it, and people didn't listen, was that the first thing in that was, remember what they said that they were doing. They were making a list of Trump loyalists that they were going to be ready to put in these positions once they fired the civil servants. And that's what they're doing. They don't care if people are qualified to do the job, just that they're loyal to Trump, just that their ideology is MAGA. That's all they care about. They don't care if people can do the job because they don't really care about the running of the country. They just care about making sure that Donald Trump is happy.
So getting back with the Comey indictment, it's just funny. Someone that 47 hired when he was 45 is now someone who wants to put in jail.
But he didn't hire Comey.
No.
Obama did.
Obama
Yes.
did. Okay, but he served under 45 though.
Yeah, he served in 45. 45 fired him. He had a 10-year term and 45 fired him. But you know what? But here's the other part too about indicting him that I think we really shouldn't lose sight of, because it tells you really what was put in front of them. There were originally three charges. They declined to indict him on the first one.
Yes, I heard about that, and I was seeing news reports that there was a lot of hesitation wanting to put this out there.
And there were 23 members of the grand jury, only 14. She only was able to convince 14 of the 23. So they were basically almost split evenly.
Those vendetta streets in Washington these days.
But
You
here's
have
the
to
thing.
also understand how much money this is costing America. For someone who wants to continue to talk about he's slashing prices, he sure is spending up a lot with this ballroom, with these false accusations against people, running our military to these cities that don't need military presence. So he's saving nothing. In fact, he's running us into even more debt.
Well, not just more debt. He's doing everything that he possibly can this week, especially in the next 7 to 14 days, to avoid Congress coming back to town to take a vote on Epstein. Even with them, they're even not coming back to town to literally vote on the budget, okay, which they're supposed to do. That's their job. You're going to hear there's going to be the indictments are going to keep coming. And then what we're going to hear too is this escalation of war with Venezuela. I mean, the fact that Pete Hegseth met with all 800 of the military people to basically start to escalate a war with Venezuela that we have no business in this is just more. It's throwing more and more spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, so that people stop asking for these files, because even all the stuff from the other guy is starting to die down, and people are asking about the files again.
Can't get enough of those Epstein files, but they've disappeared.
No, they haven't.
No, they haven't.
No, they haven't.
No one's talking about it though.
No, but
Yes,
they're
they
not.
are, because
No.
we had a big release
Yes.
yesterday.
Yeah,
Yes.
I saw something about that. What did
Steve Bannon, Elon Musk, and Peter Thiel all were on the plane.
Wow.
And names were redacted.
Names were redacted. Right. But here, and not just that, but this week, Congress was supposed to come and vote on the release of the files. Johnson sent them home.
Not to mention that he is refusing to swear in a new
Congresswoman.
because
Because
she's going to vote to have it released.
Right, she's the one that gives them the vote if they have the numbers to release the file.
Okay.
And that is why Mike Johnson sent them home.
That's his pattern. Send them home.
Yep.
He's really something, that guy.
Even though they're supposed to be working on the bill, that they sent them home, and then Trump won't meet with and Hakeem and I wish Hakeem and Chuck would stop begging for this man for a meeting. He said no. And you know what you say? Good.
I'm
Then
done with him.
we're not voting for anything. Deal with it.
I'm done with Hakeem. Okay, when they voted to have a national day on George Floyd's birthday, I'm done.
Oh, all the Democrats that voted for that should be ashamed.
You know who didn't?
Jasmine.
There you go.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Do you think Trump will win in trying to get Comey convicted? Though he's not
No.
doing the case
No.
indirectly, but
No.
indirectly, not directly. You don't?
No, not at all.
No. It's the smoke screen, and we'll be on another story. Just like I keep telling people, a perfect example. Like we hear all these headlines, they get sensationalized, they get all this traction, they do all this. Then we're on to the next sensational story, but ain't nobody following up on the stories that didn't make it. A lot of them don't even happen. A lot of them get shot down, but we don't hear about that in the mainstream media because they're compromised.
Right. The thing of it is, too, is that you got to remember how often he loses in court when a jury has to decide. This is a jury trial. This isn't going before like a Supreme Court or anything. This is a jury trial. He loses jury trials.
Got it. Got it. Well, another long and winding road story. We'll make sure we keep on the pulse of it. Let's go up next. I didn't hear about this one. Almost all Black creators on Threads are now labeled Antifa. I didn't know that.
Yes, I noticed that this week. I'm really not huge on Threads, but I still go and check every once in a while. And the day of, or either right after, Trump signed the executive order on September 22nd, saying that Antifa is a domestic terrorist organization. Immediately, these warnings came up on many of the Black creators' posts, and one of them, and this is exactly how crazy it is. So here's one that posted. Kumalan Music wrote, "I think people should have a right to affordable housing, healthcare, and education." And right underneath that, it says, "This user is suspected of being a part of a terrorist organization called Antifa. Please report any suspicious behavior." This was almost on all Black creators. I'm talking about comedians who don't even talk about politics. And of course, those who are outspoken. Now, I checked today. I haven't seen any today. I don't know what changed, but no one was talking about this and why that happened. I find it very strange that, Mr. Zuck is such a supporter of this orange. And then immediately he knows that executive order is done, and it was already there to trigger. This is very concerning.
Yeah. You know why it disappeared? It disappeared because some Black content creators started making content about it.
Yeah.
And they started talking about ways to take their content off Threads. And when they really started talking about taking their content off TikTok, and we're serious about that, he got scared. Because here's the thing. Here's the one thing that these sites like Threads and TikTok and Instagram realize, that they can't survive. They can't survive without Black content creators. They know this. They know this big time. Even though they don't pay them.
That as well.
Right. They know that they don't. They know that even though they don't pay them what they should, that without them, the white content creators that they do pay won't have content to steal. They know this.
Exactly what they're doing. Now, with that also, just recently, I'm pulling this up right now because I want to share something with you, because I have my notes on this. Just now on his last social, at the request of Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, I am directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war ravaged in Portland and any of our ICE facilities under the siege from attack by Antifa. You see, now this is a trigger word. And other domestic terrorists. I'm also authorizing full force if necessary. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This just
And here's
happened, y'all, 11
see,
minutes ago.
but see, here's the thing that's ridiculous, and this is how you know MAGA is a domestic terrorist organization, because MAGA has all the things that they assume Antifa doesn't. Antifa does not have a fundraising arm
Okay.
and an established mode of organizing financially. They don't have a fundraising backing. They don't have an ideology. MAGA has an ideology that runs through it that everybody who falls under MAGA agrees to and promotes. Antifa is really, there's not a cohesive group of people. Antifa really comes from anti-fascist, which the actual Antifa that he's imagining, which tells you like how old he is, comes from the 1930s. Antifa was what the Allied forces from World War One, going back to World War One, what the Allied forces called themselves. Let's be very clear. This also tells you someone who doesn't know history. Antifa that's what the Allied forces called themselves during World War One, and then again in World War Two. That was what the Allied forces. America was part of Antifa, the entire country, to stop the spread of fascism throughout the world. This tells you how little they know about history. God, I hate people who don't fucking read.
Well,
But
but just like I said, they choose their trigger words. Antifa, trigger. Woke, trigger. All those things, they weaponize it to things that they don't even clearly understand at all.
right, but MAGA, remember, it's like I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say to me sticks to you. This is literally what they're doing. Is because everything. Look, every accusation is an admission.
Yes. Yes.
MAGA is the domestic terrorist organization. How do we know? They've got several fundraising streams. There's Trump's PAC, and they've got several PACs that they all use. Where do you think all those tech bros are donating their money to? They've got a PAC that they're all doing. What do you think Trump had his inauguration inside, but all those people donated to his inauguration the day of the inauguration. You're supposed to donate before for the money to go to the inauguration. What happened to the money that they donated to him?
You know what happened to that money.
Exactly. It's all in the coffers to pay for this stuff. This man plans on not leaving because he put a $200 million ballroom that, mind you, is bigger than the White House itself. That tells you that's somebody that's not leaving. That's a domestic terrorist. Okay? That's somebody who does not plan on leaving. If you're building a ballroom, that's not going to be done until you're ready to leave. Until you're
He's
supposed to
not
leave.
leaving.
That is it. Think about all the things that they're doing. Think about all the speech all the language that he's used in the last 2.5 weeks. That's terrorist language. Those are terrorist threats. Think about the ICE detention shootings recently with explanations that don't make sense. That's a terrorist. We're living in a country that right now feels like it's being run by terrorists. So don't
Because it
tell me
is.
So don't tell me that Antifa's the terrorist. The terrorist is in the Oval Office.
There you go. The call
And
is coming from inside the house.
Right, and how do we know it? Because everyone in his administration has at one point said on the news media, the point is to inflict as much pain as possible. You know who else said that?
We
You know
know
who
who
else
said
said that?
We keep telling
Let
y'all.
me tell you, the members of the Klan used to say that before they would go night riding. Okay? The people who were in the white citizens councils, the point was to inflict as much pain as possible on those little black kids integrating schools so that they would not want to come back. That's terrorism, period. What they did in Oklahoma City, that was terrorism. It doesn't look a whole lot different than what's going on now.
LaLa, anything you want to add?
No, just keep your eyes open, because you know what? I'm going to be very honest. I've been very down lately about this because, you know, we come here and we try to educate everyone. We try to do our best to keep you informed. And it just seems like there's so many things that are being thrown at you. You can't even claim one and then also have peace in your life. But things have gotten escalated so much more now, where they're taking over the airwaves. They are pushing their agenda even harder. And if you don't think this is going to touch you, I beg to differ. It's coming to a town near you very soon.
Mm. I mean, you have my governor on Morning Joe earlier this week talking about the electric bills are so high because the electricity is getting expensive and all that stuff. But part of that is because, you know, we love our AI and everything, but guess what? We're not going to be able to sustain it, people, because it's causing our water bills and our electric bills to be sky high.
Meanwhile, Zuck is building one that a whole thing right outside in Louisiana that is like 10 times football fields. And Musk is doing the same thing in Tennessee. And no one is talking about it.
And y'all know our water supply is limited, right? We only get we only get what falls to the earth, and we only have what's on the earth. We don't make water. We can't make any more water.
Wow. This is really, really, really crazy. But here's my question. What did we do wrong?
Nothing.
Oh,
the whole war is them versus us. It's the have and have nots.
We were born black. That was what we did wrong.
Yeah. I can't even argue with that.
It doesn't make logical sense to me. Oh,
no, it's not supposed to.
LaLa for a moment.
No, she's there.
Okay.
No,
I thought we lost her, but she's there.
It's not supposed to make sense.
You're here. I thought we lost. You're good. You're good.
It's not supposed to make sense.
So with it, black creators label Antifa and social media, and see, this goes a deeper thing. Okay, you know, we'll get into it in the next story, but this.
But you know what this goes to? Here's the thing. Remember this is about revenge. And this is why he's going to Antifa. What was his big thing? Remember, he's going back to relitigate all his past hurts. Why is he going to Portland? What happened in Portland 5 years ago, where the protests that he kept saying were Antifa protests during the summer of George Floyd. And the ones in Portland, which really weren't BLM protests, those weren't black people. They were protests. But the protests in Portland made him look bad. So that's why he's sending the things back to Portland. That's why he's identifying those people there as Antifa. And that's why he's doing that as a terrorist organization. Because in his mind, honestly, that's the Antifa he's thinking about. But the consequence falls down to everybody else.
Do either of you during this time have any concerns about being a black content creator in social media?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
We're very vocal here. This one concerns me more than anything else, because we have spoken out. We've always done that. That's what, I mean, you and Aisha started long before I was involved, but every week we bring these things to you and we bring them to the public. And, you know, we may not be the Don Lemons, but we sure have enough of a following where people come and listen to us and they get educated. So yes, I am very concerned about that.
You know, I have concerns and then I don't. I think the reason that I don't have concerns is because in 2020, 2026 to 2018, my case fan base already came for me behind
Mhm.
just not liking her, period. So it's like, whatever they put me through, this is easy.
I will say, to just add my little piece here, that I do have concerns for any people who look like us who are on this platform expressing certain views that are based in America. Because,
Hmm.
you know, if the current not only the administration, but also other content creators feel now that because they have their guy in office, they can do anything they want, and they can say anything they want, and they can threaten because, hey, if January 6 people can get off, we can get off too. So we're safe.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. I'm tell you something. Half the time, these people, their game is not leveled the same way. Okay, their game is not leveled the same way.
What do you mean by that?
You know, I'm an auntie. Okay, my my nephew, when he was little, he used to tell me and my sister, like, why are my aunties bullies? So, so look, they could try. They could. What's the worst that they could say to me? They can try and insult all they want, right? I promise you. I've got. I always have an insult at the ready. Always have an insult at the ready, and I read, so I know words. So, you know, I'm actually kind of insulted about the half-hearted efforts that these people sometimes give my comments. And I always have to tell them, can you please try harder? You're acting like I haven't heard the N word at least a half dozen times in my 51 years.
I needed a LaLa happy face during this conversation. We got it. I got it. Can you
I mean,
try harder?
I'm 51. You're acting like no one's ever called me the N word before. Please be original.
That ain't the worst I've
I,
been called.
I mean, exactly. Oh, too. Let me tell you how many more times I've been called that than the N word. Come on, your game is slipping, fatso. Let me tell you, you call one of them big bellied MAGA bald head something, right?
They can't
All you
handle
have to
it.
do,
They
they
can't
can handle
handle.
it.
They can't handle. They can't play that game. They've never played what Mother's Dozen. They never played that.
Exactly, and they lose their minds. You remind them that they sleep with their sister and their cousin,
Okay.
and that the sister is also their cousin. They lose it. I'm like, oh, so I must have said something true. Well, tell your mother I said hello.
They can't handle that.
Mm-mm.
So
That's why I said they gotta try harder.
So your suggestion is fight fire with fire.
Hey, listen,
Look,
this go high thing isn't working.
no, nope. Sometimes you got to get in the gutter with a rat if you're trying to exterminate it.
Wow.
I mean,
Social
let's
media.
face it, because even President Obama is coming out a little bit harder than normal. Like he's always spoke the truth, but even this past week, he's getting his hands dirty too because he knows that he has to because this is where we are.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, look, Democrats have gotten to a point where we are no longer bringing a spoon to a knife fight.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So it's
No.
especially on social media, knife fight.
Yeah, it's fighting to
or
the
is
death
it
right
better just
now.
not to provide content on those platforms that aren't taking the right measures to prevent that sort of aggressive content?
Well, I only usually post IG or Blue Sky, so I stay off the other ones pretty much anyway because I just don't like people that are on there. Period.
It's interesting you share that, and I don't know. Kara Switzer said the same thing this day. She says she feels that the only useful platform, she feels that X is a joke,
Oh, it
Mhm.
is.
and that whatchamacallit, she feels TikTok's a joke.
It is.
It's
And the
about to
only
get worse.
Well, yes, we're going to talk about that in just a moment. And the only somewhat decent social media platform she finds out there is either Blue Sky or Instagram.
Well,
Yeah, for
Instagram
me,
ain't no better.
yeah, and for me, Instagram is just so I can watch puppy videos and other silly
Baby, I've
videos.
watched so many cockatoo reels this week. It gave me joy.
Oh my gosh, my two favorite dogs on Instagram are Pernell and Poppy.
Love it.
I'm
Poppy
not
got a new bonnet, y'all.
Oh, D.
Yes, Poppy, she sleeps with a bonnet on, like I do sometimes. And Poppy got a new bonnet.
I love it.
So Walamala, good to see her, says TikTok is synonym for joke.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move to our next conversation piece.
Which is
47 clears the way for American-owned TikTok valued at $14 billion.
that value has now gone down to 14 billion, and Oracle is really upset about it. The way that he has this structured is that the ownership is going to be 80% US investors and ByteDance is going to get 20%. But Oracle is going to be the overseer of all of this. And we all, if you don't know, now you're going to know. You are in danger. America, you already been in danger, but this is worse because this is going to silence and also put them right in your hands of seeing what you're saying and storing files on you. Now they're going to, you are not going to fool me by saying they're not going to take that information that Musk took and
Mhm.
compare it to what's going on with TikTok and create a file on each and every one of us who don't agree with their agenda. So their Oracle is going to oversee the algorithm, and in that they're supposed to do audits for Chinese access.
Yeah.
But the concerns are that Oracle and political investors are gaining power over our content's visibility. So they're
Yep.
going to be able to push whatever they want to, and this feeds and it shapes their political agendas. So this whole shift, and this is how they're going to do it. They're going to take it down. They're going to take TikTok down. And then they're going to have you upload the new one that will now be under the new terms. When that happens, if you're on TikTok, I beg you, don't go back.
Yeah, and this is the other thing I want to. Here's the
ahead.
other part I want to include too. When they say ownership, that word there is a lie because it's not ownership; it's actually leasing. They are leasing TikTok from the Chinese.
But ever since the first shutdown, it's never been the same. They've started feeding you garbage. I can't tell you
Mhm.
how much more conservative national Christianity stuff that I get fed on there more than anything. Views have dropped. People don't, only those who are the loudest who've been there a while, and even them are saying that they're not. It's not the same for them either. So they were testing the waters, if you ask me, and you
Yeah.
still can't convince me that Zuck is not a part of this.
And Black content creators, honestly, I say move your stuff off TikTok because your stuff is not going to be seen. I promise.
No,
I
it's not.
promise you. Now that Trump got Oracle to buy it specifically for the reason that they are trying the plan. It's in Project 2025. Their plan is to pump and push right-wing ideology to young people, especially now that they basically by proxy own Turning Point USA.
And they're
Oh, I
also
saw.
the ones who are, putting out that garbage with these false historical things.
PragerU. Yep, the Prager University TikToks are gonna be big time.
Interesting.
They've already started. They've already started, guys. No joke.
Mhm.
Interesting. I watched a interview with Mark Cuban this week, and Scott Galloway was interviewing him, and he asked him, if you had a chance to be president and it came to all these social media platforms, what things would he want in place? He said two interesting things. He said, first of all, he says that no one under 16 years old should have access to social media, and that if a teenager is using it, there's an HTML or there's a some way that the parent has access to see everything that their child has been looking at via social media.
I can't say that.
He doesn't. He doesn't have to be president to do it. Mark Cuban has the money to actually do it. I don't. That was a ridiculous question. The question should have been, why don't you
Well,
do
but he
this?
doesn't control those platforms, Aisha. He doesn't control Facebook. He doesn't control TikTok.
No, I know. No, I'm saying, why doesn't he create one? He has the money to do it.
True.
I mean, why the question? If you're president, why not? You have as much money as Mark Zuckerberg. Why not create a competing?
LaLa, what do you think about that suggestion that no person under 16 should have access to social media platforms?
I agree. I agree. Even the creators of TikTok don't let their children have it. So if the creators are the ones who's protecting their families, why shouldn't we? I can tell you right now that what the Asian communities see, the ones who own these type of platforms, I can tell you for a fact, because I worked for one, that
That's
what
true.
they see compared to what we see, that is night and day.
Yes. Yes, I've been told many times, like, if you go to China, first of all, they restrict so much things as it is anyways, but they don't see what we see. It's like two different worlds. I also want to put it out there. Facebook love from Yolanda Wynette has from Facebook, which I think is a
Yolanda, she's part of my queens.
Yes, she did Facebook love. But yeah, this whole aspect. Okay, let me ask both you two. Okay, I'm going to make you co-presidents of the United States of America. What things would you put into effect when it comes to social media platforms?
That one first. And also, not one should have more percentage of social media, just like we do with businesses, over the others. Immediately, that would be my first thing, is that exactly what Mark Cuban said. Kids under 16, and even if you ask me, 16 is too young because they're so impressionable, should not have social media at all. There's no reason whatsoever. You look at this case that's going on with this singer, David, and this young lady who's missing and then found out being dead. That girl was 11 years old. He met her on social media. Social media is a cesspool for children. It's a cesspool for children's mind and a cesspool for predators to go get them.
I agree. I agree. Also, too, I'm sorry, but I am about free speech, but there's way too much hate speech on social media. Way too much. Nobody should be exposed to that much hate speech. It's not only just damaging to the person who receives it, it's also damaging to the people who use it. It's damaging to the community. How are we supposed to fix community? How are we supposed to be a safer, more kinder, more empathetic country, when people are exposed to so much hate speech? I'm sorry. And we can sit here and go back and forth, but we all know what hate speech is. Don't be stupid.
We know what hate speech is.
I remember a time.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I
LaLa,
remember
please.
a time that when I was growing up, it was improper to ask people things like who you voted for, or You know, there were things that were off the table that you didn't speak about. And then there was also rules where children were not allowed to be in the same space that you were if you were talking about adult things. And honestly, I think that we need to return to that very much so, because this is what always continues to stoke the fires. I clearly remember my mother being like, go to your room. Me and your aunties are talking right now. Y'all go play. Listen, that didn't hurt my feelings, and I didn't need to be in those spaces, just like children don't need to be in these social media spaces.
Yeah, and you know, though, here's the thing. I think being the children are to be seen and not heard generation, there's some value in that, I think, because we learned a lot more by just listening instead of like being up in the conversation all the time. Um, to the point now, I can be in one room and at my mom's house, I can be in one room. She can be 3 rooms away. I can hear everything that she's saying on her phone, even to this day, right? Um, but just you got so much of the family history and the details in the story that way, and but also too, you knew there are just things that are we. I feel like we're a society right now that exposes young children to too much too soon.
Oh my God,
Because,
yeah.
because think about it. After you turn 18, you're going to be an adult for the rest of your life.
Can't get that back. You cannot get your childhood back. I'm telling you, I'm so grateful that I was a tomboy climbing trees, running through the grass barefooted, you know, eating tomatoes in the garden, just wiping them off on my shirt. Hey, listen, these children are missing out on so much. And the rest of the world seems to be smarter when it comes to their children. America just wants to shove phones in their babies' hands as soon as they come out the womb.
Yeah. I mean, we have a generation of kids that can't sit and have a meal at a table
Right.
with people and just have conversations without a tablet.
Yes.
Whose fault is that?
It's also ours. It's ours. It's the parents. Listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. Listen, it's us pushing this agenda. You know, mama and daddy's tired. They come home from work. They don't want to talk to their kids. Here, go watch this on TV. Here's the phone. Going to the grocery store. Mamas are trying to go grocery shop. Here, take the phone while mama does this. Listen, it's our fault for falling into this as well, but it does come from a narrative that, because the narrative says we don't want our children to fall behind. Well, far behind. China and them is like 20 years, light years ahead of us on everything that they do, and their kids don't have no cell phones in their hands.
Well, remember they started too with millennials. The thing is that they were telling their parents, "Oh, you don't want your kids to be bored. That you have to plan every moment of their day." Remember how like the um the younger millennials, especially the middle to younger ones, always would have these packed schedules where like every minute of every day was accounted for. Guess what? It's okay for kids to get bored. Kids need to be bored. You know why? Because
Imagination.
boredom fosters creativity. Boredom fosters innovation.
Okay.
I never would have taken my stereo apart if I hadn't been bored and had to put it back together because I wanted to listen to it.
Ryan says, I'll definitely put Instagram above TikTok and X, but bad content is absolutely everywhere.
Yes.
And Dr. Tachi says, hello. Hey, Dr. Tachi.
Hey, Dr. Tachi.
You know, maybe you want to call in and chat about this. You know what the program is. We're talking about social media and its impact on young people, especially in light of the impending TikTok purchase, US TikTok purchase. I know you talked a little bit on your Mediascope last night, but if you want to chime in, because it is going to be very interesting. Because now here's another question. And so LaLa, you mentioned that you suggest that people who do not upload the new
No,
U.S.
no.
TikTok? What
By
reason
all
do you give
means,
for
no.
that?
I'm sorry, I missed your question because I was so adamant about no.
Okay, why? What is the reason for your hard no?
Your hard no is because now the government is they're pushing their agendas and they're collecting information on you. This is no longer warning. This is the revolution will not be televised, because they're going to push everything that they want on you. You're going to see more Christian nationalism. You're going to see more of the trad wives. You're going to see more of Trump is great. This is what you're going to get. You're going to be fed garbage so that you stay on anxiety at all full times. They've already planned this. They already had it in store. They just tried to figure out how they were going to put the puzzle pieces together. The puzzle pieces are now together.
Right. And also too, if you guys think that this also is another step in this man's quest to getting a Nobel Peace Prize,
Oh boy.
trust
Yes.
me, it is, because he's not
going.
gonna let that go. He is not gonna let that go.
Are we getting to a point then where we're going to have state run and control media?
We're already here.
Yeah. Well, we are already here because that's what this whole merger with Nexstar and what's that other place about? Remember all those media conglomerates? They are state-run media when you think about it, because they all have the same script. Remember they busted them about that, like, what, 2 years ago?
Well, not only that, but all of them are friends with 47. They've all contributed. They've
Exactly.
gone to the knee.
Yeah.
You're talking about a news outlet that allowed themselves to be bullied for taking a man off TV for absolutely saying nothing. Just
Right.
because 47 does not like him, that was his agenda. And they even said, well, we didn't see anything wrong with it, but we were afraid of retaliation. What does that tell you?
Yep. And you got to remember the newsnet, like the Nexstar, they are very right-wing leaning. And I think that's the tragedy in, like, the news media, but also with radio, is that all these conglomerates scooped up the mom and pop locally controlled ABC affiliates, NBC affiliates, radio, and all that. And so now it's controlled by a very elite few, and they get to decide what news we hear. It might be local, but it's when we hear the national news from them, they are reading a script that is nationally approved. So
We
we're
are
not
down
getting,
to 5. We are down
yeah,
to
we're
5 networks, whereas many years ago there were over 200.
yeah,
And there's already a concentration when it comes to the social media platform, because the real growth in media, from my lens anyways, is on digital online, not traditional media. Traditional media is shrinking,
yeah,
right? Because if you look
absolutely.
at it, a traditional news program, how many views it gets, and then if they create shorts, a lot of times shorts on a platform get more views than the live broadcast.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Anytime I do shorts, my numbers are good. If I do anything over a short, it doesn't get the attention. On any kind of static post on Instagram, I'm lucky if I get 1 or 2 people even to look at it.
And that's a scary thing about Americans, because that is also truly an American problem. We're like the only people in this world who have this kind of short attention span.
We're a nation of consume.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And also we've heard the name Oracle, Larry Ellison,
Bad news.
involved with, what was it? He's part of the TikTok consortium. What was the other thing though he picked up early
I think he
on?
had a lot to do with. I think aren't they trying to take over CNN?
Yes, he's trying. But well, no. So Larry Ellison's son is part of Skydance, which bought Paramount.
Yes.
And then Larry Ellison is part of the friends who have gathered together to purchase are going to be in the line of purchasing TikTok. So we're going to have two major media platforms, one digital, one traditional, where people would say right-wing person, well, it would be right-wing dictated media. But that's no different than what people say with Fox News.
Right.
Well, exactly. So basically, everything is being turned into Fox News.
Or people would also say state-run media.
Well, so Fox is, if you ask me.
Here's the problem though, right? And this is the thing that I see is that eventually, and I'm not saying next year or the year after, might not be for 5 years, might not be for 10, but eventually people's experiences will not be lining up with the news that they're being fed from this right wing ecosphere. People's lived experiences are not going to be lining up with what they're telling. And they're going to have a big problem.
Well, I
They're
think
going to have
I think we're at that point now. Oh, it gets more and more now. It's more prevalent that people are just turning off a lot of the traditional media and going to where they feel they're fed the most. Like for myself,
no,
I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of television media. I watch most of it online, and I watch both sides of the spectrum and independent. I get various sources because.
But I'm talking about I'm not talking about people like us. I'm talking about those people who live in those desert areas where the only news, people that
True.
don't have high speed internet access, like
Right.
those dark places I was driving through on my way from Myrtle Beach to Charlotte, in those back roads when I couldn't get Wi-Fi.
Right.
Those places where they still, in some homes they might not have cable or satellite, or they might have a satellite, or they might just have a channel that just turns to the local ones, right? But those people I'm talking about, when those people, because those are his supporters, when
Yeah.
those people, when it starts hitting them that their local news, not the cable news, their local news that they still think is true, is telling them things that they're not seeing is true.
Well, and then what they will end up doing is going, if they have the internet coverage, they'll go to online media and they'll go to the popular sites, which will probably
But they won't be able to. That's what I'm saying. They won't be able to go anywhere else. Those are the people that are going to be like, wait a second, this isn't right. Those are the people that are going to be like, wait a second, I'm being lied to.
And there's many, many, many of those, Dr. Vibe, many. When we think of America, we think of big cities, we think of, farmers and stuff, things like that. But there are many, many, many places that don't get the service that we do in these big cities, or, so those are the hardworking people of the fields and things like that. They don't get what we get. So yes, they are going to be put at a disadvantage.
Agreed.
They're going to be told what to think.
All right, let's move on to our next conversation piece, and it's scary. The return of lynching in America.
There were 2 deaths in Mississippi. One victim
and one in
was
Florida.
1 year old, and one, oh yes, that's right. There was another one in Florida. And I'm going to preface what I have to say with this: Black men don't hang themselves from trees. I want you to understand that. Black men do not hang themselves in trees. So what happened was, with one, is they claimed that he committed suicide, but there's all sorts of lies and cover up has been sworn around that. And they actually had called and told his parents that he was in his dorm room when it happened. And so they brought in an independent investigator and an autopsy report for that. We are going to continue to see the rise of these, especially in places like Mississippi, where the Klan is still thriving very hard. Kentucky, Alabama, Oklahoma, Florida. You're going to see more and more of this. And the thing about these lynchings, because I'm calling them what they are. I'm not calling them nothing but what they are. It is the return of racial terror, period. We want to prove a point that we still can repeat history on your people. And one of the things is so key to this is what people are not putting together. Mississippi is ground zero for Emmett Till in 1955. And that's where the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act happened. And so this is speaking way more volumes than what people are talking about or bringing. It's already old news. It's already old news because they've covered it up. But we are going to be seeing more and more of these things. And these young men did not kill themselves. They were lynched.
You know, I'm going to say is never in my life have I ever, except in history, seen white on white crime be an excuse to commit white on black crime.
Yes.
I mean, the anticipation of a race war and then them finding out that they couldn't do it because the perpetrator wasn't who they wanted it to be
Yes.
is ridiculous to me. But they're like, oh, we're going to just go do it anyway. The fact that showing up on HBCU campuses, it's like, look, y'all's anger is misplaced. Put it
It's a
backward.
case of don't believe what you see, just believe what we say.
I mean, why are we in it?
Because they want us in it, because we are enemy number one to them.
I know.
As
I
I've
get
always
that, but
said, they want everything but the daggone struggle.
I say this every day. I'm like, that was a skin folk thing.
Yeah.
Why are we in your stuff? That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Like y'all are very quick to talk about black on black crime and how we need to take care of black on black crime and this and this and this. Why don't y'all take care of your crime and leave us alone? Why are we in it?
Still over here sipping our tea, but you still coming for us.
Exactly. It's like, yo, we can't ever get a freaking break.
A lot of more and more people who look like us in the United States saying, what do you have against us?
They cannot stand our beauty. They cannot stand our brilliance. They cannot stand our brightness. They cannot stand our glow. They cannot stand our history. They want it all. You know, there is a character in Harry Potter that the minute I saw it, I thought to myself, oh my God, that's exactly what these racist people are. What are those things that come on the broom and they suck up everybody's soul? That is exactly what this is. They fly around to suck up everybody's soul because they cannot stand our shine. They need our shine to even get a little bit of glimmer in their life.
Like when
you know what though?
Go ahead.
These stats of things. You know what this reminds me of? This period we're in right now, and I think you have to really think back. But this reminds me of a period about 30 years ago, at the late 90s. Remember, they started bombing our churches again. They're burning our churches in the late 90s again, and it was like all across the South they were doing it again, right before James Byrd got killed. This has been Bill Clinton was still president. And I was at Fisk that summer, and it was like, gosh, this church. It just felt like every couple of days they were burning a black church, and that felt like a really crazy time. And it just feels like, and then 30 years before that, was the late 60s, and that stuff was happening. It just feels like every 30 years was out like clockwork. It's like they come out of a box or something. It's like, oh, it's 30 years. We got to go wreak havoc on something.
Like the cycle of the cicadas. It's ridiculous.
Yes, yes, yes. And actually, the cicadas were out when that happened with James Burr. I was in
And
Nashville. The cicadas were out.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
The
that's exactly
cycle
what
of
it's like.
cicadas. I never thought I'd hear that on this platform.
Hmm.
The cycle of
Exactly
cicadas.
what.
What does it tell you that we have to discuss lynching in America in 2025?
I
Well,
cannot
because
believe
we never discussed it. Well, look, we've never really discussed it before.
I'm going to fall back into what I truly believe. A lot of us, we know the history, our parents, our grandparents, okay? Especially of those of us who had older parents. But America got lulled into a sleep for a very
Hmm.
long time. And these cells went underground, and that, they were still doing their meetings and it doesn't mean they went away. They were still teaching it in their homes, but it went underground. It went to sleep. Now, the bolden of these so-called powers that be, who want a totally different agenda, had all of their stars line up. So now these people are completely bold enough to come out and stand in the sunshine and say all the darkness that they can to you and do everything they can to hurt you as well, and justify the fact that they are superior. They're no longer wearing the robes. They, a lot of them not even wearing the masks. They're just walking freely down our streets and open carry and letting us know what they're about.
Right. And to piggyback on what LaLa just said, the reason that they had to go underground, if you remember your great moments in Black history, was when that Black woman, I believe it was down in Georgia or Alabama, I can't remember, but it was down south, when she sued the Klan and got their like offices. She
Yes,
had gotten all the money and she got their headquarters. She basically bankrupted them.
they
And
can't
that's when
stand that.
yep, and that's when a lot of this stuff started going underground.
Would you then say, and I think both of you agree, and you've had a number of comments over the last while, that this movement to repel this kind of stuff, it has to be taken underground also.
Yes.
Yes. And that's the sad thing about this social media generation, and this generation that has to do everything for everybody to see and everything on camera, is that they're too far gone to get to rein them in and be like, nah, come back.
All right. Okay. Last conversation piece, MAGA going to HBCUs.
This is a part of the agenda that you were seeing just from the story we just talked about. They feel very free, and they are literally saying, they're calling it, what is the thing that they're calling it, Aisha? It's under this umbrella that the whole turning point thing started. They are actually the MAGA group that came. They came to Tennessee State University. They had hats. They were decked out in their MAGA, and they had signs that said like DEI should be illegal, deport all illegals now. And they branded it as a debate. Like they
Right. Let me
wanted to
tell you
go into a
something.
debate.
Let me tell you something. I've been at the campus of TSU. I know TSU well. TSU's campus is just down the street from Fisk, which is right across the street from Mary. It's not that far from Fisk. I mean, it's like you got to ride up to get into the campus, but not like far up. But here's the thing with most HBCUs. Yes, it is a land grant institution. It is a public institution, but don't think that you can just stroll on up into a campus, be a stranger, and be let on the campus because you think you're white. Those people that are on that campus, their first responsibility is to protect the students there. That's their first responsibility, to protect them, body, mind, and spirit. Okay? That is their main purpose. Even if you are a student at TSU, if you are going to, and this is in the HBCU, any college really, but any HBCU for sure. If you're gonna have any kind of function, you got to get permission. I remember 30 years ago, I couldn't walk on the grass at Fisk without worrying about getting a fine. You can't walk. I mean, come on now. HBCU's got rules. What are you talking about? Thinking you could just walk on up and do this stuff and not get kicked off campus. We got security guards on our campuses. What were you thinking?
Well, I mean, here, think about the optics of it. You know, you got young Black students who are grieving because we had these hangings, and they're all suspicious. And while they're grieving about that, but you know, the whole time there's a big political movement that thrives on grievance politics, showing up on their campuses, smiling, shaking hands, trying to hand out hats. So this is the tension. Lynching is about silencing, erasing, and terrifying, but HBCUs are about empowerment, education, and survival.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let me tell you something. I guess they thought that they were going to be able to stay or whatever. Whatever. Those kids did not touch them. They filmed them,
That's
and
right.
what did they? And look, no, what they do? The stuff that they were screaming at them were historical facts.
Exactly. They didn't even
That's the
go
part.
they didn't call them white devils. They didn't call them none of
Nope.
that. They spit out pure facts.
They were spitting out pure facts and history about TSU. I'm gonna tell you something. Those white boys. It was so funny because one of them reposted the video as in it was a race riot. Nah,
Yeah. Yeah.
no,
But that's their
you just
agenda to race bait.
look. He called it a race riot. I said a race riot where you get clocked with historical facts and figures. Really? That's a riot? Come on now.
Well, you know, they feel emboldened by what is going on with under this administration. When you have a president who is pardoning January Sixers, and they think they can get away with anything and be pardoned for it. This is a dangerous precedent. However, nobody is talking about Asada Shakur and what she had done in her life and how she to us is a hero for what she did and stood up for right. I don't see no medals being put out for her.
Mm-mm.
This incident of MAGA going to HBCUs, would it have occurred, or was it something to copy the late Charlie Kirk's doing?
Yes, but I'm not talking about him.
Well,
I'm sorry. I just won't even give that
well,
man any
I
energy.
know that, but I think
well, it was intentional. Of
Yes.
course it was. It was intentional, and they were trying to do something and trying to mimic it. My point is this. Again, that was white on white crime. Why are you showing up at an HBCU to
Thank
do it?
Well, because immediately Trump came out and said it was us. So what does the cult do? Our fearless Fuhrer says that it was the black folk and the leftists. So we're going after them. Even the daggone governor, after
And
it
here's the part
happened.
that kills me. Here's the part that kills me. You went to it. You of all places for you to go. You went to one of the safest black spaces you could go to.
Let them
That
try it
tells you
and
that
see.
look. That tells you that you're not about this life. They went to a college campus. They went to a black college campus because you could tell they are afraid. What are you going to get there? You're going to get people who read. You're going to get people who are maybe first generation college students. Probably not. You're probably going to get people who are legacy in the D9. You're probably going to get people who are paying college loans to go there, so they are not going to risk their money to fight you and get kicked off the yard. They're probably going to get people who took the time to get up and get dressed and look fly that day to go to school. They're not fighting. You're not. You're a college campus, okay? A institution for higher learning. These are not people who scrap. What were you? That you know what you were thinking? You went to that space because you're cowards. You
Yeah.
went to that You went to that particular space because you would not go other places where you knew you were likely to get your.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting ongoing. Is this a copycat type thing because of recent events? Let's put it that way.
Is it a copycat thing? Well, yeah, but a couple people have been doing this all. They've been doing this all over, not just because of that person, but a couple people have been doing these kinds of things. But those people went to this particular campus because they're cowards. They didn't just show up any old place. They went to a HBCU because they're a bunch of punks. Because you know what? You really, if you were really about that life, you would just go up to a random black person or just sit on the street and dare any black person that walks by you to challenge you.
Hmm. Hmm.
I ain't falling for that old okey doke talking about debates. Miss me with that.
But here's the other part too. You went the other purpose for them going to an HBCU was that they also wanted to try to embarrass a quote unquote educated black person to they wanted to try to make it look like HBCUs don't produce good enough students. You know, they had a whole plan behind it. In fact, the matter is that the one piece part in their plan that they didn't think through first was, oh, we should probably get permission to be on the campus.
Well, that's the whole point, Aisha. These people never think they need permission.
Right,
Their thoughts of being superior doesn't merit them even having a single thought about having permission about anything. But they learned
right.
that day.
Yep, they thought that they could just roll up in our space because they were white and that but because the thing is that's what happens when you're used to being able to go up anywhere and they learn that there's one place you can't go without permission.
Stay out of our spaces. We ain't bothering you.
Yeah, a lot of people would say we're not going to their place. Why do they need to come to this space?
Well, apparently they learned that there are places that they have to go to get permission.
Okay.
Oh, breaking news. Mike Lindell said he's thinking about challenging Tim Walz for governor of Minnesota. Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh, wow.
All right. On that note, because news is always breaking. Sorry, folks, we can't cover everything because we be on 24/7, and these ladies have a life, and they're not 100%. And if you're watching this live on replay, they're just on audio today because they're not 100%, but they still gave the most important thing, their time to you. So you should say thank you. Hold on. Dr. Tachi says, please tell me the sense of going to cause trouble at schools with stellar students when you yourself should be in school trying to learn something. Pure stupidity.
Exactly.
Well, but Dr. Tati, see, they said that's the part that kills me. They said college dropouts to go debate matriculating college students.
Wow. Wow.
Because remember those types, they are all about dropping out of college. The guys in that movement, they think college is ridiculous.
And the women are not allowed to go.
Yeah, because they got to be trad wise.
All right. On that note, let's call it. Want to say thank you both to LaLa and Aisha when they're not 100% for spending time and hanging out with today, but they were fire as usual. So they don't have to be on camera to breathe fire. That's good fire, by the way. Like good trouble, good fire. First things first, LaLa, how do we hear from you?
Well, I like to keep things simple. I have a lot of wonderful resources for you on my website, laurakey.net. If you're interested in getting into AI, maybe possibly learning, because I don't want our people to fall behind, because believe me, technology is moving on. If you would like to create an AI twin, come to my page and sign up for the next class. I'll be beginning Lunch and Learn, as well as teaching you about home ownership, because see, that also gives you power. Owning land is very important. It is good for you. It is good for the future generations. So check me out at laurakey.net.
And I'm excited to hear about this course. I'm so excited for you to get this course happening.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it too. I love AI, but I also know how to keep it in its spot, because with this new stuff that's coming out with the music, oh Lord, I know we're going to be talking about that soon.
Well, and on another platform, LaLa was on this week, and they were chatting with a lady. Did she sign a major, like she was an AI music creator?
Yes, it
And,
wasn't the young lady who was on with us, but it was another lady that got a $3 million deal from a record company.
but
What?
the lady that was on with you, I wasn't feeling her 100%.
She's one of our beautiful Black geeks. You know how we always say STEM? She's one of them. You know, sometimes we got little nerds going on, but she actually is really. I'm in her school, and she gives really
Okay.
good information. She just may not come that way on camera. You know, sometimes people don't understand. Don't come across on camera.
Understood, but I was interesting. I was in how you presented yourself during that conversation, because you and another person, the producer of that show, were sort of saying the creativity is sort of lost in the
Yes.
individualism.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
that's where my concern was, but I'm sure we'll talk about another conversation.
Yeah.
All right. And next up, her name is Aisha K. Staggers, who is just hanging out with us today. Are you in your car?
No, I'm in the bed.
Okay, well, make it quick so you can go to sleep. Where can people get a hold of
I
you?
You can find me at AK Staggers on Instagram, Medium, AishaKStaggers.medium.com, Blue Sky, AKStaggers.bsky.social, Friendo Media at FriendoMedia.com, and Substack, I'm Aisha K. Staggers.
Thank you. Get some rest. All
I
right.
will.
Self. I tell people I've taken the LaLa route. I made it nice and simple. If you want to find out about Dr. Vibe, one simple link, taplink.cc/the Dr. Vibe show. Everything's here. If you want to email me, if you want the YouTube channel, Facebook, LinkedIn, the Substacks on there, a whole bunch. Everything's there. If you want to get, most importantly, if you want to get in touch with me, everything is there. All right. As always, you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Also, you can catch it on my website, thedrvibeshow.com. And that's it. As always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger. Aim better. Aim better. Aim better. Aim better. Aim higher. Aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time. Manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. If you're not making money, make your streak, but try to do both. And as always, make it better. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith. And let's keep our fingers crossed for the next 7 days. Be well and keep the faith.
To understand how afraid I am of any member of the rodent family, that's down to squirrels and chipmunks. Okay, I cannot stand all members of the rodent family. Rabbits, bunnies, no. What else is going on that day? I mean, is there something we're supposed to be doing?
Why are you going there? Why are you going there? You know I'm going to ask you. It falls the same day as the inauguration of the new president.
The what? Excuse me? I'm sorry.
So in other words, Monday.
So onesies. Now, folks, don't ever think you're going to see us all on a show with onesies on. Don't do that.
You might see me. You might see me.
You'll see me and you'll see me and LaLa because we oftentimes wear ours.